they had, other ideas. They had another direction that they wanted to go in. So they rescinded the offer. Now he went to the Lakers at this point. So he's not in a horrible, position. But they decided to change their mind. So I just get, why not change your mind if you're a player, if it's for the right reasons. Not every time everything is going to go perfect. So it is what it is, on it. So maybe we should take another break. Maybe. Yeah, I tell you what. We'll take another break, and then after we come back from the break, we're going to get into this Nick Saban news where he was talking about free agency, if you will. Free agency. What is he talking about? What is Nick Saban talking about now? We'll talk about that and more when we come back. It's the Wait a Minute Show. We'll be back after these words.
We all hate when we have unexpected car problems. Well, I am here to tell you about a viable solution. Bay 11 Auto and my man Melvin. You have emission problems? Brakes need changing? Transmission slipping? Is your car just driving sluggish? No problem is too big. I live on the other side of town and I drive over an hour to a guy that I trust. Melvin is honest, dependable, and definitely not in the business to break your pockets. Come see the official mechanic Melvin at Bay 11 Auto. You will be glad you did. You can reach him at 1455 General Arts Road, Conyers, Georgia, or 404-295-5715. That's 404-295-5715.
We don't take orders from super fools. We give them.
X gon' give it to you.
Any and all resistance will crumble. Nonsense. There's never been a threat
Squad
couldn't handle. It is the purpose of the
Squad
to align our infamous forces against the powers of good and defeat them, leaving us, the rulers of the world.
All music artists, lend me your ear. Looking for that hot beat to make your next hit? Go to farrelljaromusic.com. Tired of paying for overpriced studio time for mediocre beats? Go to farrelljaromusic.com. farrelljaromusic.com offers industry quality hip-hop, trap, R&B, and pop beats that will take your creativity to the next level. We know it's hard to find dope beats out there, so don't waste any more time searching YouTube or whack beat-selling websites. Go to farrelljaromusic.com today to cop the beat for your next hit. Mixing and mastering services available too. Once again, go to farrelljaromusic.com. That's FARROJARRO music.com for the hottest beats in the game.
Squad Network, the future of radio.
Yo, what's good? This is Trey Frazier. This is the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Make sure y'all tune in to us every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time.
He's the brain of operations.
I'm telling you right now, book it!
And him, he's along for the ride. But together, they bring you sports like you've never heard before. The Wait a Minute Show, a new way of discussing today's trending sports topics. And now, back to the show with your host, Jolani J.B. Bodie.
Indeed, Lopan, indeed. So we're back from the break and we're talking sports and specifically college football. So before I was going to the break, I was talking about Nick Saban being in the news for free agency. So what was he talking about when he was discussing free agency? So basically what he was discussing at SEC Media Day was that granting these transfer waivers for players have created free agency in college football. And he felt that this was probably not good, or he actually felt that this wasn't good for college football. He felt that players should actually, have to sit out a year, or athletes just in general. If you go from one school to another, you should sit out. And he was talking about, hey, it's been going on for years, and if it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. So recently there was a jump in being able to get a waiver to transfer to another school so you can play immediately and don't have to sit out a year. And that number went from waiver requests, I should say, went from 163 to 256. And this is all college sports. And in this portal introduction that was done last October, where you can enter it. Because here's the thing. Here's how it used to be for a transfer. And like Nick Saban said, years and years and years, it was like this. It was if you went to a university and for whatever reason that you decided to go to another university, it was a foregone conclusion that you were going to have to sit out a year to play that sport. You could go to the school and do the schoolwork and all that stuff, but if you was going to play a sport, you were going to have to sit out a year. And if you could play immediately, there had to be some really, really significant circumstances to why you were leaving the school to go to another school to play immediately. So that has been a little bit more lenient, and players and athletes and students, because they're all of that, are starting to go to other schools and play immediately. You know me. I get why Nick Saban is saying this, and Nick Saban is old school, and I think that's part of the reason. I don't think if it's not broke, don't try and fix it. I think he's going in with that type of mentality. But at the end of the day, I keep saying this over and over and over again, and I'm going to say it probably until I'm blue in the face, and that is change is inevitable, and when change happens, you have to be willing to accept all the changes that comes with it. You may not agree with it, and then at the end of the day, some of it might be bad. But you have to accept change as it happens. There was a point where coaches didn't get paid the money that they're getting paid now. But they are, because change has happened. There was a point where NCAA basketball and football wasn't as lucrative as a sport as it is now. Things change. TV deals change. Schools getting their own, not schools, but conferences getting their own TV network. Things have changed. You cannot let all this other stuff around you. Recruiting has changed. Everything has changed. You can't have everything change, and then you're going to say, but I don't want this to change. I don't think that's good. All that is that these kids now have an option to play right away. I'm trying to figure out what benefit, because it used to be, if you wanted to leave the school, you couldn't go to another school in the conference because maybe you could help them out and they don't want to play against you and you could do something, all that. Okay, I get that. You got to go to another conference, compromise, you can't stay in the same conference. You got to go to another conference and play. But you can't sit around here and talk about all the other stuff that have changed, and you yourself change. And I'm not talking about Nick Saban, personally, but you have adapted to the way things are done when it comes to college football. So I just think this is something also that you need to adapt to. This is not just football or basketball. These are all the sports across the NCAA blanket. So why not? What is the what could possibly happen that just is a major now? And I don't want to hear, outside interference, all that stuff is going on already. And aren't aren't you going to school? You're supposed to go to school and get your learning and everything. And then, when you get out there in the real world and you start working, you're trying to market yourself to the best opportunity. Well, some of these kids get an opportunity to do that earlier than later. Now, if there's pain under the table and all that stuff, yeah, I'm not for any of that. But for a kid that maybe, look, I thought I would like it here. I didn't. They changed the coach or something like that. The coach that I thought was going to be here, he or she got fired. Now their philosophy is different. Somebody else came in. They are better than me, or they're deciding to go, with this offense, or they're deciding to run, this defense, or they're deciding to, do whatever. Why can't you just leave? You change what was happening. Why can't I change also? In the Wait a Minute Show chat room, Moochie said, if it's good for the coaches, it should be good for the players as well. And I get where you're going with that, Moochie, and part of that I do agree. But, at the end of the day, the coaches are employees. So they get the option, to choose to decide where they want to work and where they want to actually be employed. So it's a little bit different, but I actually get what you're saying, is that, look, but it goes back to what I'm saying. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen. It's been happening. It's been happening for years. You weren't selling jerseys and beard socks or whatever else that they may sell at a college, sporting event. But that has changed. So that this is what's happening now. Change is going to happen. And the students, athletes, players, they want to have a little bit more say-so in the matter. You did all that to try and recruit them. You kissed their butts to try and get them to come to your school. And then once when they want to leave, now you want to be mad. Now there's going to be outliers, and all that stuff that, makes the whole thing look bad. I'm not talking about that. It's nothing that's going to be perfect. So I'm not talking about that. But let the kids change. Let them move on to another school if it's for the right reason. I have no problem with it. So I'll leave that there. But where I will pick up, we're going to get back into the NFL because the NFL is on the horizon. It's right there over the hill. Look, over the hill. NFL football is on its way. And one of the things we're going to talk about probably for the next few weeks, and we're going to do, and we did this before and we'll do it again, is divisions. We're going to go through all the divisions in the NFL and discuss the teams in each division and how things are looking, at this point. So I think we might have did this last year and started off with this division, and we'll just do it again. If we didn't, then we didn't. If we did, we did. Well, whatever. We'll start off, and that is the AFC East. So we're going to discuss the AFC East, which consists of the Buffalo Bills, New York Jets, Miami Dolphins, and the defending champion New England Patriots. So we'll start with the Buffalo Bills first. They are coming into a second year with Josh Allen out of Wyoming, big arm talent, and a guy that is good with his feet. And to me, Buffalo they're going through this transition of, some things of, you tried to, sell us on some of the moves that you were making, when you saw the whole thing, like Nate Peterman starting over Tyrod Taylor, and that just, blowing up in their face. So to me, they're getting through those whole situations, but I can see this team having a little light at the end of the tunnel. Now, they're not going to make the playoffs, but I do think they will be better this year than they were last year. You're going to have the consummate pro on your team and Frank Gore. You got LaShawn McCoy. So you're going to have – they're older vets, but they're going to be, let's just say, dependable vets. They're not going to put out the production that they once did, but they're going to be dependable veterans. And they added a kid in Dawson Knox that got drafted out of Mississippi. So you're adding pieces to your offense at tight end. They got